Hey, and welcome to episode 22 of One Game Dad. Uh, the proverbial One Game Dad, Gregory Palaci. Oof, and, I have just immediately gotten into a fight here on Assassin's Creed Origins, not oranges. I need some oranges, because I'm all stuffed up. Still a little, ill from last week, but well, the kid's back at daycare, and I'm at work. Well, right now I'm doing this, which I wouldn't necessarily call work, but I've had to update this change my schedule so that I'm no longer producing this podcast and this live stream on the weekend. I mean, currently it's Wednesday. I don't know if it's always going to be on Wednesday in the future. I'm thinking Mondays may be a better day for doing this. I know it's an odd day to do it, but it's a nice way to start the week, reflect on the weekend and what's ahead. We'll of course see how that goes. I mean, there's no guarantees.
Welcome to Letopolis, dream of the great Tahaka. A new life awaits you in the glorious city of Letopolis.
But yeah, I mean, nothing's set in stone, so this schedule could change quite a bit, especially since I need to be getting my other podcast up and going. I've written a couple scripts for that.
A miracle of man's labor.
But
You just don't know it yet. We give every new arrival a house.
yeah, it's
A fresh start.
getting to work has been slower than I wanted to. I mentioned last week some of the difficulties I've had, and yet I've had all these ideas, and I've gotten some of the little things out of the way. So I should
Cool desert in the time of our ancestors. But the great Tahaka
I should be able to.
discovered its secrets. He is uncovering it to shine again under the sun.
I should be able to, really just get down to business. Not that there's much preventing me to, other than this killer headache I have. That's for another thing. This change is good, but it has been heartbreaking. Every time I drop my daughter off at daycare, she's crying. She's just so unhappy with being left alone, and yet it's good for her. She's getting to be around others. She's getting to play.
There are no large beasts in this.
I did not stay to find out. They were the last gift I got from my father. And I left them there.
But yeah, it's just for me, it's heartbreaking, but it's necessary because yesterday we walked around the house for a good couple of hours because that's all she wants to do. She wants to play. She wants to walk around with me, and then my head's always down with my chin in my chest because I'm having to watch her, and I just have this killer headache. It is something else. And it's all because I'm just, I mean, obviously I'm so much taller than my daughter, but it's one of those things where it's well, it's difficult to be to do for these long periods, and but that's all she wants to do. She just wants to just walk around and have hold my hand, and oh, I really, really just want to do anything else. It's
Quiet there. Let's see how you are tangled.
Another sacrifice to the mistress of prayer.
it's
The lady of slaughter.
I just I find myself
I'll kill you.
this staring down at her is it's just not easy. I mean, if there was another way to go about uh, doing all that we doing this, it would be easier. But she doesn't want to sit still and really play with anything. She doesn't want to simply read a book or watch something. She wants to just keep walking around, and with me in tow. And well, I certainly appreciate her wanting to be with me. It's one of those things that it's just like, come on, there's
Good thing
got to
you're
be
able
something.
to. I fear Ned, he would be dead, and you'd be lying to it otherwise.
Yeah, it's it's funny how having a kid just suddenly brings on all these small changes. And like, I don't have a smartphone, so my neck isn't always forward. I try to avoid tech neck. I try to I I try to sit smartly and use my computer in a good position, but yeah, it's just with a kid, it's not possible. In part because like I'm always having to hunch too, because she's holding my hand, so it's pulling my shoulders down, and it's just it's interesting how we
As I dug
end
out
up
the
contorting ourselves around our children, not just physically, but our lives change so much
but it scares me in my bones.
These
to
are
not to fit them in, but to fit our lives around them.
Time and sand. Do you? Do you think it's a curse?
I will ask around town.
All right. What should I do? I don't know if I can sleep here.
You will be fine.
It's I'm sorry.
You should speak to Ramesu. He knows everyone in town and everything that happens here.
I am sure he does.
yeah, trying to start a business is an interesting proposition with all this going on because my wife has to travel, my kids at daycare, and surely getting.
Life awaits you here in the top. I've seen that dour face before. You've come for your house.
No.
You would clear a house in no time.
Enough. At Nehi's house, he showed me strange writings.
It's
Nothing to worry you, friend. 3 others have said the same thing, but these signs are too old to be made sense of.
I will check with them.
You are wasting your time, but as you will.
it's yeah, okay. So my wife,
Welcome to the dream.
my wife is going to have to travel a lot for work, and that my kid keeps getting ill. I mean, as is always going to happen with daycare. And it's just,
A new life awaits you in the glorious city of Necessities.
it feels like it's really hard to prioritize this business or just getting back to work because I feel like because I'm only getting the startup grant now, like I'm not necessarily earning anything else. Like mine's the thing that can be sacrificed, which isn't which isn't which isn't great. It's
This entire
It's-
city was lost to the cruel desert in the time of our ancestors.
it's yeah, I mean I don't know how to balance it because I mean my wife clearly has
Are you new here?
Passing through.
to be concerned with her job. Like if she has to travel, she has to travel. If the kid's ill, the kid gets ill. But it's just like okay, when like
Sure yet.
when do I get to prioritize
Tell me if I should worry.
my work? I mean, to some degree, we already are because my daughter's going to daycare at only a year old, and
Another part of the message.
it's yeah. I mean, it's funny how much I just want to be able to work and to do so without interruption, without concern for
Covering it to shine again under the sun. And
other things. But it's
Looks like the same style. Perhaps part of the same message.
but yeah, it's hard to say. It's I mean, with time, presumably things will work themselves out. We'll get a better schedule. With it being snowy here, it doesn't help. Like my wife can ride her bike, but she can't take the kid on the bike with her or take the kid to daycare on the bike because of how icy it is, and so it's like first thing in the morning is me dealing with others, making sure
More of the message.
they're sorted.
It appears to be a temple.
Right position, Gere.
So, yeah, it's just. It, the idea that well, yeah, I don't know. Again, it's always this matter of priorities, and my daughter is my top. Is my top priority, but it is. I also wonder. Uh, I wonder how much I can really focus on my business, because even the evenings, like, it's not time that I can work because I'm having to take care of the kid. I'm having to pick her up from daycare, and that's more afternoon because she's not going for a full day yet. It's it's one of those things where I'm I'm just
What did the priests hope to achieve in their last ceremony so long ago?
um,
These men, they were weapons.
it's. I should just make a song out of it's. Uh,
Some ancient concoction, long since dried up. A prayer. The Lady of
As
Sorrow.
part of my work, I'm trying to launch this new podcast. It's also a video thing, but I've been wondering, like, unlike some others, like this podcast, for example, where it's just kind of like a weekly
So the rest of the Nile could
thing, me catching up, me talking when I'm not too distracted by the video game I'm playing. I like it has a script, has a very specific.
Segment. In their eyes, Tahaka's project would be sacrilegious.
It has a very specific purpose about writing in video games and writing in general. But of course, I'd like feedback from the audience. So that kind of, excuse me, begs the question of how much do I pre-record scripts or record episodes and just have a bunch banked? But then that doesn't allow for much in the way of feedback. Of course, there are. I mean, I could always record what I'm doing and then do a quick update at the end of each episode based on the feedback I've received. I'm going to have to explore, but one thing I always like in projects I try to do is consistency. Not that I've been terribly consistent with this, other than the long pauses and me going, and it's.
The sun's always blow. She wants to reclaim the city. Are the officials blind and mad? Can't stay here. Maybe Nebefe will come with me. What about you?
My time here is but temporary.
You were kind to me when others were not. Maybe we will see each other
So
again in this world.
Trying to figure that out. I need to just get on with recording the episodes. And but before I do that, it's going to take me testing my camera setup to figure out what's going to work. But yeah, it's sorry. It's just something I've been considering given everything else I have to do.
Baba! Ipuy! Can you hear me?
So
Can you hear me? Baba! Ipuy!
I am here.
Are you okay?
My leg is hurt. I don't know how bad.
And Baba?
I don't know.
What happened?
yeah. I mean, I guess I should call this episode for the day so I can get on with my other work. I've been One Game Dad, Gregory Palaci. Thanks for watching and listening. As always, please like and subscribe, rate and review on whatever platform you find this. And you can find all my work at onegamedad.com. You can find this show on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Twitch, and YouTube, all at One Game Dad. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next episode.